Hey, you guys, welcome. My name is Dee Edwards, and I will be providing a training for Tax Genie professional software. On today's webinar, we are going to be going through inputting like a basic tax return, W-2, household income, Schedule C, and answer any questions that you have regarding the software. At this particular time, I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. And let's see, let me make sure that you guys can see. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So once you guys log into the actual, wait, hold on one second. Let me pause this for a second. Give me one more.
For first 4 minutes.
For 1 moment. Let me log this one. All right, we're back. So once, let me share. Okay. All right, can you guys see this on the screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, so once you guys log into the actual system, the first thing that you will do is start new 2021 tax return. If you all have prior year tax clients, you guys can go to the top right and you can select the tax year that you need. Okay, over to the left hand side, you can click here for client status. You can go directly to the IRS website where it says e-file opt-out form. If your client want to mail in a paper tax return versus you e-filing, you would need to include this form with the mail-in tax return. And if someone prefers to do a paper tax return, you really need to ask questions and make sure that you're doing your due diligence. Sometimes you may have to mail different correspondence to the IRS. All you have to do is select IRS mailing address on your left-hand side. The next one is IRS publications, instructions, and fill-in forms. So let's say if you need any type of forms, all you have to do is click that button. Consent to use form. If you need a consent to use form, consent to disclosure form, you can click that button. Or if you need tax software training, this is where you can click to find different videos, whether you are a tax business owner or if you are a tax professional, you'll click that button and you'll find recorded videos on how to do everything in the tax system. Okay, how to input household income, email tech support for questions. If you need to understand how to do the advanced loan in the software, you can go to the left-hand toolbar. How to input a state return, contact tech support, how to file an amended return, or even a refund calculator. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Let's see. Can you guys see what's on my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So let's say if a client comes into your office and they just want an estimate, you can actually go to the refund calculator and you can put in some of the information that they provide to you, and you can give them like an estimate of what their tax refund will be. Okay. So that's
All right, gotcha.
Yeah. So sometimes people think that you have to put in all of the information in the actual software in order to give them an estimate. but you don't. You can actually use the refund calculator. Now, the refund calculator, it may come up with a different amount than the actual refund. So a workaround towards that is to create a new 2021 tax return and let this be like a template. So instead of doing it, creating an estimate tax return for everybody, you'll just create one, and then you'll go in the system and modify that one instead of having like 10, 11, or 12 estimate tax returns in the system. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's see. Y'all gonna have to, let me write it down because I was gonna say y'all gonna have to help me remember this social security number I'm about to put in the system. Let's see. Okay, all right. So the great thing about this software is that it's blind. First of all, it's blind input of certain information, because this helps you to verify that the information that you're putting in the system that is actually correct. So don't try to memorize it. Input the information based upon the actual social security card, so you will know that this number is correct. Okay. If you have already worked on a client's tax return from the previous year, on this screen is going to ask you to import the information. Then the answer is correct. Okay. During the beginning of the tax season, most of you all are going to open up your tax offices the first week in January. You all have to understand that during the first week of January, that the IRS, they're still making a lot of tax updates. So there are going to be times where the system will go down because they have to update it based upon the IRS. There are going to be times where the refund number may adjust slightly because there's an adjustment in the forms, or there are additional instructions that are being released in the system. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. I know that some of us who start early on in the tax year, they may say, hey, we got system errors or system issues. You don't have system issues. You all have to understand that the system have to go through updates. Okay, so as the IRS is making changes, then the software have to update to adjust to those changes as well. And so for those of you guys who was with us last year, you guys know that we went through a lot of changes because there were a lot of changes that was implemented during the tax year. Okay, so this is an important message that you see on the screen. And it says, before you begin, please note that certain calculations could change as the IRS continues to finalize instructions for tax year 2021. We're working diligently with the IRS and state agency to incorporate updates as we receive them. Now, this is important for you guys to know, because in the beginning, just because the federal or the IRS have released us to start preparing tax returns, it doesn't mean that the state has. So I'm in the state of Alabama, and so we have to file a state tax return. And so our office is going to open the first week in January. Well, the state of Alabama won't release us to e-file at the same time. So what you guys can do, you can go ahead and prepare the IRS portion of the tax return and then later add the state tax return if you would like. The most important part when working with clients is to do what? You want them clients to feel, you want them clients to feel locked in. Okay, that is the truth. You want your clients to feel locked in. Like, listen, when you get their signature, they receive incentives from your office. They need to know that they are locked in, and you have permission to e-file their tax return. What we tell our clients is that, hey, once we sit down and go through the entire tax preparation process with them, we're letting them know that this is actually going into like a holding cell, for lack of better words, and that we're not able to stop, the processing of that tax return. Because, there are going to be clients that actually, they try their best to underhand tax professionals. And this is important, you guys. I work with a lot of tax offices, and I work with you guys. It's important that we don't undercut each other. Like for instance, if there's somebody who come to, let's say my office, who have been to your office, my goal is to protect you as a tax professional, even though you guys may see me as competition or somebody may see you as competition. When someone come into your office, that is not the time to kind of to try to tear down another tax professional, hoping that you're going to win this client. You can look at a tax return and you'll probably question like, oh my God, why did she do this? Or why did he do that? You don't know why they did it. You don't know what that person was telling that actual tax professional. So let's just try to let's build a safety net amongst each other in the tax industry, and know that you have the confidence, you have the tax knowledge and the experience to win them without having to undermine or undercut somebody else. Okay. All right. So when it is time for you guys to actually send the tax return through, you want to make sure that you will review your return so that you're aware of any changes that are made in the tax calculation. If there are any changes above $5, okay, did y'all hear me say that? Above $5, that means that you're going to need signature updates depending on how your clients sign the actual tax return. I love for our clients to sign in the actual system, because all we'll have to do is notify them, hey, with the finalization of the tax laws, your refund have increased by $10, $100, $200. There is no additional there's nothing else additional that we need from them. Why? Because we already have their signature on file. All we have to do is send them the updated tax return. Okay. All right. And I also want you guys to know that the chat is open. So if you guys have any questions as I'm moving forward through the system, be sure to put them in the chat. All right. So let's go. Let's get started. All right. So right here, you'll select your filing status. I am going to say head of household. If you are a new tax professional and you need help with determining the filing status, you guys can use the filing status wizard if you would like. Some of you guys probably have not used the wizard before. But what you can do is you can go through the wizard, and these questions, you can actually put these questions on the form to help you with compiling your questions for due diligence. Okay. All right. I don't want to go through the wizard. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So you'll start by putting in the primary tax preparer first name. I'm going to put my information. The social security number have already come over. Date of birth. Okay. I'm not going to tell y'all my real age. I'm make myself a little young. I'm born in 1987. All right. Tax preparer as my occupation. When you guys are inputting information in the system, you have to have an occupation, okay? And this occupation, all of the information, let me tell you guys this, all of the information that you guys are inputting in the system, this information needs to match the actual forms that the tax client is completing. Okay, so what you guys need to do, you need to pull up your due diligence forms and you need to compare it with the information that you're putting in the system. So let's say if you guys are going through the actual interview process, right? And you find that there's some information that's on that form that is different, that would make the IRS question your due diligence process. Guess what we're going to make that client do? We're going to make that client fill that information out again. Nope, we're not going to mark anything on that paper. What we're going to do, we're going to make them fill out that form again. We don't do cross outs. We don't do scratch outs. We don't do white outs. Why? Because if the file is ever audited, the IRS will question that. So you're not going to see a bunch of marks on our due diligence forms. Okay. So we're going to verify that due diligence form plus what we put in the system, that it matched. All right. All right. So you put in the occupation, and then these are some questions that you guys can select. Oftentimes, you don't have to select anything except this is the most important question, okay? The first two questions. These are the most important two, okay? So taxpayer can be claimed as okay. Taxpayer can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return. So if I'm filing, let's say for instance, if I'm filing my son's tax return, I would definitely select this, okay? And it says taxpayer is claimed as a dependent on someone else's return. The answer is yes. Why? Because I'm claiming him. If you're working with a tax client who filed the dependent on their tax return, plus allow the dependent to file their own tax return, let me tell you what we do in our office. What we do is we file our clients plus their dependents tax return. And we'll more than likely do it for free or for a very low cost. Why? Because if the dependent filed the tax return before our tax client, sometimes they're not, the tax preparer that filed the dependent tax return is not asking this question here. And what does that do for your client? It messes your client up, because now the dependent have taken on what? The full credit of being a taxpayer on their own and not as a dependent. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, stop me if it doesn't make sense. Okay, all right, so I'm going to unselect that for now. Okay, taxpayer was over 18 and a full-time student at an eligible institution. If you select this, all it's doing is telling the system to generate the 1098T form, the education form. Okay, so even if you miss it here, you can still go over here and form numbers and bring up the form to complete. Okay, all right, let's see. Bam, bam, bam. All right, now look at here. It said taxpayer wishes to elect to use their 2019 earned income to figure their 2021 earned income credit or child tax credit. All right, so remember that this right here is so important, especially let's say for the 2021 tax year. Let's say that client did not make as much as they did in 2019. Guess what? We're still able to use their income for 2019. And so this is where you would complete it. All you'll need to do is put their earned income in this box here. Okay, you'll leave the designation as COVID-19, and then you'll put the earned income tax. I mean the earned income for 2019 tax year, not 2020 tax year, but for 2019 tax year, you'll put it here in this box. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to unselect this for now, and I'll come back. Okay. If you're working with, let's say a Hispanic client, they may prefer, let's say Hispanic or someone of another nationality, they may prefer to receive their correspondence from the IRS in a different language. Then you have the option to do that. Okay, so let's just move forward with with inputting the address. Okay. Okay. All right, so this is the taxpayer's address. If they're head of household, this is the address where they're claiming head of household. Okay, you need to input two numbers. Where it says daytime telephone number, this is where you'll actually put the cell phone number. Okay, let's see. Now, in some offices, you guys may say, hey, I'm only requiring one telephone number, but we require two telephone numbers, because if the tax client is using a bank product, then you have to have two numbers. So we go ahead and get this information in the beginning. And it's good to have two telephone numbers. Why? Because one of the numbers may be disconnected. For some reason, we may not be able to reach the client on the second telephone number. Okay. All right. So, and these numbers need to be different. There are going to be times where clients say, well, I don't have but one telephone number. Okay, we understand that, but we need an alternative number. Okay, so all of our clients have to give us an alternative numbers. Okay. All right. Oops. I need to uncheck that. Okay. So you put the two telephone numbers in, you press complete. Okay, do you have any dependents or qualified person to claim on this return? I'll say yes for now, because normally somebody have one. Let me put my baby Aubrey Edwards, okay? As you guys can see, let me go back and show you guys this. Okay. For those of you all who are advanced, you can just go to the left-hand side and go directly to the form section. You don't even have to go through the actual wizard part of the software. Just go to the form and go directly to whatever section that you want to go to. So for instance, it's broken down in sections, which is good. The first part is basic information. The second part is federal information. Third is health insurance. Fourth is state section. 5 is a summary. 6 is the e-file. The next one is to amend a tax return. We don't amend tax returns until March, okay? We don't amend a tax return unless the IRS, we can amend before then, but the reason why we don't like to is because we want our clients to receive their actual refund first, okay? I would suggest to anybody, don't amend a tax return until your client receive their refund first. If you need to amend a tax return in order for the IRS to release a refund, then that's totally different, okay? After you put in just some of the basic information for a client, you guys can go ahead and create a customer portal if you would like. You don't have to wait until you get to the end of the tax preparation in order to create a customer portal. You can go ahead and create a customer portal. You can send this to their phone or you can send it to an email. Either way, okay? So you either need their telephone number or you need their email address, okay? And they'll receive a link. They'll click on the link and they'll put in their name as you have it in the system, social security number, email address as you have it, and I think telephone number. Once the customer portal has been completed, your client can text you from the customer portal. Your client can send you documents through the customer portal, and whatever documents that they send you through the customer portal, guess what? It's saved directly into the software. It's like the software have a storage for that particular client, which helps you to create a paperless process. Your client can also receive a copy of their tax return. They can also sign their tax return as well through the customer portal, okay? So it's good for your customers to have a customer portal. So you can create the customer portal from here, or you can wait to the end of the tax preparation process, okay? If they sign their tax return, they are signing their consent forms as well. All right. So this is the recovery rebate. Did you receive any stimulus payment from the government? Okay, like the third round of the stimulus. So whatever that third round was, they can put it here. It is important for you guys to know exactly what that third round stimulus is. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but you guys remember, like for the tax client, it was like $500. And for the dependents, it may have been $500. Whatever that amount is, they'll put it here, okay? This is just for the third round. If they didn't receive anything for the third round, just leave it blank. Okay. So this right here, this is new for some of you guys who have been with us before. This right here said, know which form you need. If you know which form that you need, you guys can go right to the quick file section and go directly to that section. Or if it's someone that is new to the whole tax preparation process, you guys can select no, and the system will walk them through which form to complete, okay? So if I select no, it's gonna walk you through the entire process. It's gonna start, all it does is look to the look to your toolbar on the left hand side. Remember, we started with the basic section. Oh, so under the basic section, this is where you can do your filing status, personal information. Oh, this is where you put in a dependent tax return. I forgot to put in a dependent. Okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Y'all see how with the last name is automatically generated? If the last name and this last name is generated from the taxpayer's last name. So if the dependent last name is different, you guys need to put in that last name that is on the Social Security card, not the birth certificate, the one that's on the Social Security card, okay? Or the prior year tax return if you do not have the Social Security card. For clients who are new to you, it's a really, really, really great idea for you guys to ask for a copy of the prior year tax returns, okay? All right, so all I'm doing now is really easy, you guys. All I'm doing now, select the date of birth, Social Security number, okay? Was this individual a U.S. citizen? More than likely, yes. What is the relationship? This is my daughter. How many months did this person live in the household with me? She lived with me for 12 months, okay? Was this person a student? If they were a student, check that. Check if this person was disabled. Listen, if this is a disabled, let's say a disabled individual that is under the age of 17, technically, you guys, you don't even have to select disabled. The only time that you need to really select disabled if it's somebody that's disabled that's over the age of 17, okay? Because when you guys select disabled, this is an alert to the IRS. Let me tell you guys this. I know I'm supposed to only be doing software training, but y'all know I'm an educator. I love the tax industry and I like helping you guys file compliant tax returns, okay? If your dependent or the taxpayer or their taxpayer dependent is disabled, this is like a trigger to the IRS. So really select disabled if your client, one, complete your due diligence form for disabled. Number two, they can prove that they are permanently and totally disabled, or their condition will lead to death or expected to lead to death, such as cancer, God forbid, okay? All right. Check if this qualifying child is not your dependent. So I may be claiming Aubrey only for the daycare credit, not the earned income tax credit. So right here, I can say, check if you wish not to claim this dependent for earned income tax purposes. I can check this and only claim Aubrey as claim Aubrey for the daycare credit, but not the earned income tax credit. So Mike can claim Aubrey for the earned income tax credit while I get credit only for the daycare portion. But that's kind of advanced for you guys, so I don't even want to talk about that. Okay. Check if this dependent is married. If this dependent is married, check if this dependent is filing their own tax return. Like, if you guys start checking some of this information, it will affect whether or not your client qualifies for earned income tax credit. It'll affect whether or not they qualify for child tax credit and all the additional credits. So only check that which applies, all right? Okay. If this dependent made over $4,300 worth of income, you guys, guess what? You're gonna lose out on a credit. So if Lil Mike living in a household with me, gone off to college, and he's working a job while he's at school, although this is my dependent and I have the right to claim him, but he also have income that's over $4,300, guess what that's gonna do? That's going to mess up the earned income portion of the tax return. Okay. All right. Okay. So now Aubrey has been added as a dependent. Okay. I'm going to press continue. The only reason that we have money over here in the federal section is because of the recovery rebate credit. Someone said, how do I get to the customer portal? It's right there on the toolbar on the left-hand side where it says create customer portal. Or you can wait until you get to the end of this tax return to send them the customer portal. If you're using the mobile app, you're not going to be able to generate the customer portal. Why? Because the mobile app pretty much do the same thing as the customer portal. The mobile app allows your client to literally put information in the app, and you can import the information that they put into the app into your actual system. So for instance, if you guys, and I would suggest that you guys put your own information like in the app and import it so you can see for yourself how it actually works. Okay. So the client, they'll click on your mobile app, they'll download it, and they'll start putting in their personal information like their name, their first name, last name, occupation, address. They're able to upload their social security card, driver's license, even their W-2s. And so whatever information that they put on that app, you guys can import it into the system. How do you import it? At the end of their, at the end where they are importing the info, where they're inputting the information into the app, they're going to get a reference number. And then they'll give that reference number to the actual tax preparer. And that's how you import their information into the system. Okay, Joy, good question. She said to check the 18-year-old option, is it for college and not seniors in high school, right? Very good question. Whether they're 18 years or older in high school or in college, you can check that box. Okay. All right. Did y'all understand like what she was asking right here on the dependent part? Let's edit this. She was asking right here. This person was over 18 and a full-time student in the eligible educational institute. So she was asking, can she check this if the person is still in high school? Technically, you don't have to check this if they're still in high school. This is basically for college, but it's not going to make a difference whether you check it if they're 18 years in high school or college. Okay. All right. All right. So if your client, if they have an identity protection pin, this is where you put it. This information is located under the basic information, you guys. Okay. So what you can do, if you guys are advanced, you can move from the basic and click right over on the federal section. And this is, this is where the income portion is. Okay. So this is for someone who's filing a W-2. Okay. All right. At the top of the tax return, you guys, please be mindful. If it's a standard W-2, a corrected W-2, a substitute W-2, or a railroad W-2, you do not put a standard W-2 and a railroad W-2 in the system the same way. So if you know that you're working with engineers and conductors, it's not the same, you guys. Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. So what you guys need to do is you put in the employer's information. Okay. You put in the address, zip code, come on down, put the wages. Okay. So you guys, as you can see, the information is auto-populated. As a tax professional, you need to look at that actual W-2 and you need to put in what's on the W-2 in the system. So if the Social Security wages is different on the screen than it is on the form, which number do you put in the system? You put what's on the form. We are duplicating the form in the system. So don't say, oh, this automatically populated. No. Take this out and put what's on the form, okay? Okay. You put in the federal tax amount, you verify that these numbers are correct on the form, go through all of this, all of that. Pay attention to box number 12, okay? box number 13. Pay attention to box number 14. If this was a railroad W-2, this information here would not auto-populate. Instead, you have to put in the railroad workers, tier 1, tier 2, where it says railroad, you'll put it here, or it's some that's under code 14 as well, okay? All right, then you'll select your state. All right, you put in whatever falls under state based upon that W-2, and you press continue. Okay. Press continue. Okay, if they have additional income, you guys will select from here. So what I'm about to do, I am about to combine other incomes, okay? So let's say if, I don't want to delete it, but let's just say there's no W-2 and your client is a household employee. Very simple. All you have to do is go to less common income, select begin, other compensation, begin, and household employee income, begin. And you'll put in whatever that household, the total amount from all of the employers for the household income. Now, some of you guys may take it a little bit further and you may select this little box here. And in that box, you may decide to put the employer's names. You may finish. She received that amount from Anita Baker. Okay. You may put, she received that amount from Sabrina Child. Okay. So you can either choose to break it down based upon per person, or if you wanted to, you can just put the full amount. Either way will work. Okay. And press continue. Somebody said, Gwen, you said, would you also check that box if client is also claiming listing for head of household and not as a dependent? Can you help me understand?
Yes, if they just have just claiming the child for not dependent purposes, but just for head of household, they're not claiming it for, I guess it'll be earned income.
Okay.
So I was saying, did you check that box too, or would you check not the dependent is I guess dependent is you claiming not as a dependent. I just didn't know which box would be more.
That's right. Yeah, the one that not claiming as a dependent.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So you guys see how to input household employee income. Okay. All right. So the next one, the next income that you guys may need to know how to put in the system is, let's see, a 1099 NEC. That is pretty much self-explanatory, but I'll just put one in. Okay. NEC is now the new version of the 1099 miscellaneous. Okay. All you do is input the taxpayer's, the payer's name, address, zip code. Okay. You'll put in the EIN number. Okay. Most of them have an account number. You can put that in. I would for reference. And you'll put whatever that compensation is in box number 1. If it's $10,000, put in 10,000. If it's 5,000, just put in 5,000. Whatever it is on the box, okay? Some of them rarely have state information, but if it do, whatever you have on that form, you just input it in the system, okay? A 1099 NEC, guess what? That is usually connected to what? It's going to be connected to a Schedule C or Schedule F, okay? So I'm going to select Schedule C and press continue, okay? So now it automatically pulls up a Schedule C form. Now I'm about to show you guys regarding the Schedule C. Okay. All right. So leave blank. Okay, I'll go back and show you how to do a schedule, to do the household income. Okay. Leave blank if no separate business name. So if the business name is the exact as the person name, then you can leave this box blank. But I'm going to assume that you have, that the taxpayer have a business name, okay? They have a business name even if they don't have an EIN number, okay? If they're using their social security number, guess what? You'll leave this box blank. If they're not using a social security number and they're using an EIN number, then guess what? Put the EIN number. So let's say your client say, hey, I don't have an EIN number. Then guess what you can do? You can say, hey, we can apply for your EIN number. That be an additional $99 or $199 too. I mean, you may decide to offer it for free. I don't know. It depends on you. I ain't gonna tell you how you do it. But I'm just giving suggestions. All right. Okay. Right here, this is the address. So let's say the address is different from the taxpayer's home address. That's what you'll put right here on this system. Okay. Okay. Business codes. Okay. So this is, you guys know, this is where you would select the business code. Some of you guys will try to go in the system and just select the first one that you see. The business code, listen to me well, is one of the most important information that you're going to put on the Schedule C. Why? Because it validates the actual expenses. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are selecting the right the right code. Okay. So let's say if there's an independent artist, writer, or performer, some of you guys, like myself, I'm a public figure. So as a public figure, I make money speaking. And so I could select this as a public figure, okay? If I'm an independent artist, writer, or performer, I could select this code. But whatever code that you use, it don't matter. Make sure that it aligns with the business, okay? And description of business, you can leave it exactly as is, or you can leave it as is, or you can change it to be a little bit more specific. Okay. So I may change this one. Like I may change that to public figure. Yeah. Or I may just say I'm a speaker. Okay. Now, basic information regarding information about your business, that's what we just did, okay? This is considered the basic information screen, okay? Questions about the operation of your business. This form is important as well. The accounting method, 99.999% is gonna be cash, okay? Method used to value closing inventory. You guys can leave this as is. If you don't have any inventory, because as a speaker, I can have inventory. Why? Because we have clothing items or vending items. So it just depends. Or if you don't have anything, you'll select not applicable. Okay. Check here if this is your first Schedule C filed by the business. Why is this important? This is important because normally the first Schedule C have the most expenses. Okay. All right. Okay. Prior year unallowed loss. The only way that you put something in this box if you have the prior year tax return. It said check here if you made any payments in 2021 that require you to file Form 1099. So for me and my company, I would check this box because I give 1099. Anybody who I pay over $600 for a service, listen, you're gonna get a 1099. Okay, you're gonna get a 1099. Okay. If you check the box above, click here if you did or you will file all required forms. Yes, I am. Okay. All right. You'll only check this box if it's a qualified joint venture, like between a taxpayer and their spouse. Okay. And you'll click here for prorated expenses for minister or clergy. I don't want to get into that one because that's a little bit more complicated. I just want to keep it simple. Okay. All right. The next box is the income box. Okay. So as you guys can see, $5,000 is already in the system that cannot be changed. Why? Because this came from where? Form 1099 NEC. Okay. All right. So next, if you guys want to, let's say if your client made money from vending under this particular business, they made $10,000 as a vendor. They made $10,000, $20,000 speaking. Let's say that they made okay, book sales. Okay. Okay. And I can just, okay. If your client has a 1099K, important, you guys, important. So you guys know that Cash App and PayPal and all of those clients. So those clients, those business owners are going to have Form 1099K. So you're probably asking, where does that information go? It goes right here under income on your Schedule C. So you'll look at the 1099K, and whatever is in that box, they give the total amount that's on that 1099K. All you do is you can either put it here in the main box, or you can break it down and say, okay, so from the 1099K, they had 35, they had that much in the 1099K, okay? Then I may say, okay, from cash, they had this amount from cash. So you can do it this long way if you would like, or let me delete all of this. Okay. Or I can just say, you know what, I'm gonna put everything under just one amount. I like breaking it down because it helped the IRS to understand that I'm being thorough. Okay. All right. Very rarely we have anything in box number 2. Okay. Returns or allowances. Let's say if someone paid me for a service, but I gave them a refund. That's where you would put this. Okay. And then other income. What other income that did not fall under gross receipts? You know, every now and then you may have something under other income. But to keep it simple, you guys can just put everything in this one box if you would like. It's up to you. It's not a right or wrong way for that. Okay. Cost of goods sold. This is more so for individuals who are boutique owners in retail. Okay. They'll need to have the inventory at the beginning of the year. Purchases, less cost of items withdrawn for personal use. Cost of labor, not salary paid to self, material and supplies, other costs, and inventory at the end of the year. General expenses. Okay. So on your due diligence form, what I would recommend is that you guys create your form just like this. And you have them to complete that due diligence form. And all you have to do is go back and put in the numbers. Okay. And it's a good idea to ask them to bring some type of proof, or to have some type of proof that they have a legit business or they sold something. Put something in your file. Okay. So advertisement, you guys, this include like marketing material, website hosting, business cards. Okay. Contract labor. This is if I paid someone over $600 to work for me. Y'all know those 1099 NECs we give out? You'll put that full amount right here. Commission and fees. Let's say if the bank charged me a fee, or if I had to pay a commission, a split to somebody, that commission can go here if you didn't put it under the contract and labor part. Okay. Depletion, I don't know what that is, to be honest, so I skipped over that. Okay. Most of the people that we work with, they don't provide employee benefit program. Most of them don't provide health insurance either. Other insurance other than health. Okay, so this could be car insurance. You guys may have E&O insurance. Okay, insurance other than health, you'll put here on this box. Okay, long-term care insurance to be carried to adjustment. You guys can really, most people don't have this anyway, so you can skip over that. Mortgage interest or other interest. Let's say for instance, if you guys can either put it here or under the business use of a home. So if your client worked from their actual home, just keep in mind that there's a calculation that has to be performed in order to get this amount. So they may have mortgage interest of $4,000, but if they're only using their home or a portion of their home, and that calculates to 1%, then only 1% of the mortgage interest goes here, okay? Other interest could be the interest of a car loan, okay? So let's say if someone used their vehicle, and this is not, I don't even want to get into the training of a Schedule C because it's so intense. So I know there are tons of questions when it comes to completing an actual Schedule C. My job as the consultant for Tax Genie is to make sure that you guys understand how to input information to the system versus why you put information in the system. Why you have to talk to your tax office. Okay. All right, because that can make us go for a long time. Okay, but I'll just tell you guys. So for other interests, this could be like for a car loan. Like for instance, my vehicle, one of my vehicles is in, well, I want to tell you my business. Other interests, it could be a percentage of your car loan. Okay, so if you use your vehicle for business uses, right? Again, you got to do the calculation to determine what percentage of the vehicle is being used for business, and whatever that percentage is, you guys will put that's considered a write-off. Okay. All right, pension and profit sharing, you guys normally skip over that. Rent or lease of equipment, let's say it's someone in lawn care. They may have to rent a piece of equipment. That goes there. Rent or lease a property. So, we have property that we lease and rent and all of that stuff. Guess what? That goes here. We also have commercial property. Don't worry about it. So rent or lease a property, repairs and maintenance. So keep in mind, if your client is claiming mileage, they cannot claim repairs and maintenance on their vehicle. And if they want to claim repairs and maintenance, let's say on a vehicle, you guys, it's not the full amount again. Remember, it's only a percentage, okay? But there may be repairs and maintenance that they had for their commercial property, okay? So that amount will go here. Supplies, that's self-explanatory. Taxes and license. Most business owners, if it's a legit business or whatever, they should be paying some kind of taxes or have some type of license. So you guys make sure you put you should have something there. Travel, this is like for hotel, whatever doing travel. And you can click this button and you can break it down. I can say for my travel, sure, my Uber. I can also say for my travel, my parking, because I have to valet park, okay? For my travel, my hotels, I don't travel a lot, okay? Okay, so those are things that fall under travel. The great thing about meals for this year, you guys, it's 100%. You guys say meal, you guys see on the screen where it says meals 50%, enter 100% of the expenses. So in previous years, like if I was to take a client out for a meal, if you guys were taking a client out for a meal, so if that meal was $60, right? You'll put $60 in the system. However, it would only calculate as $30. It would only be 50%. The client only get credit for 50%. Now, due to COVID, guess what, you guys? It's 100%. So that's 100% of your meals, 100% of your team meals that you done paid for, 100% of clients' meals. Listen, meals, okay? So somebody may be saying, well, when do you put 80%? 80% is mainly for like DOTs, like for truck drivers, okay? Everybody else normally is fall within the 50%, but for both, due to COVID right now, it's 100%, okay? Utilities, we have a commercial space, okay? Utilities, okay? So we may want to break it down to the light bill, water bill, gas bill, internet, cable, all that stuff, okay? Oh, sorry, you guys. Where'd I go? Oh. Sorry, let me go back, okay? Utility, wages, if you guys pay wages, then you can put that there as well, okay? I'm press continue. Okay, so she said, is this where I put the income for my kids if they did work for you? So if they're considered an independent contractor, then cut them a 1099 NEC, and then you will put that under general expenses, contract labor, okay? If you're talking about the one where you hire your kids, that thing, if you're talking about that, then you would need to cut your kids a W-2 in order to maximize that one, if that's what you're talking about, okay? All right, car and truck expenses, you guys. All right, so you can put the type of vehicle if you want, whatever. Chevy. Who makes a Chevy? I don't know. Chevy Tahoe. I don't know. Or is that a Ford? I don't even know if that's how you spell Tahoe. I don't know. Okay. All right. Date you place your vehicle in service for business purposes. When did this vehicle go into service? Did it go into service at the beginning of the year? Whenever. You'll get that information from your client. Of the total number of miles you drove your vehicle during the tax year. Oh, and again, you guys, this is so good because all you have to do is read. So for those who are new, just read it. See, we put a little description to help you. Okay, it said of the total number of miles you drove your vehicle during the tax year, enter the number of miles you use your vehicle for each of the following. So how many miles was actually used for business? Okay, let's see. I use 13,000. Okay, you guys can put commuting. This commuting is something that you don't get credit for. You only get credit for business miles. So I don't make my people go through the other ones. You can. Commuting is basically like the total amount of mileage, okay? But you don't have to. We usually just put in the business, okay? Check here if you have or your spouse have another vehicle available for personal usage. Check if your vehicle is available for personal use during off hours. Check if you have evidence to support your deduction. If yes, check if this evidence is written, okay? Y'all know legally, in order for someone to claim mileage, they have to have proof, okay? And so they may not have necessarily brought you proof into the office, but you need to let them know, like in case of an audit, then the IRS or the state may require them to send in a mileage log. And if they require them to send in a mileage log, then they can reconstruct the records, or they can just provide whatever written evidence that they have, okay? All right, depreciation. Okay, so when you're depreciating items in the system, you guys have to know like the description of the asset, the date that it was placed in service, the cost, the percentage that is used for the percentage of business use. It's good for you guys to know the section 179 deduction and how that works. Prior year special deductions, accumulative Depreciation, the depreciation method, like this right here definitely goes into advanced tax preparation. So, and then you guys really need to know the laws regarding depreciation as well, because if you depreciate an item, then you're not going to be able to claim the mileage under the car and truck expenses. Okay. So it's good to really just know the tax laws if you're going to get into that portion. All right. Other expenses, you guys. Now, this is where you could like continuing education credit. How much y'all spend on continuing education credit? This is where some of you guys pay for software. Okay. Okay. You may have paid for tax training. Okay. You may have paid for uniforms. Okay. What else? Cell phone. Okay. If you have a business phone. Okay. If you have a personal line that you use for business as well, then you have to determine the percentage. So it's not the whole cell phone, you guys. It's the percentage that's used for business. Okay. Uh-oh. The qualified business income deduction. Basically, you guys don't have to do anything on this screen. This will, the system, which is great, will automatically do the qualified business income deduction amount. The only time that you will need to do something on this screen if you want to make an adjustment. Okay. Expenses for business use of home. Okay. All right. So you guys can use, let me go back. For this portion, you guys can use the simplified method if you would like. And it says here, if you choose to use the simplified method for business use of home, you will be limited to the maximum square feet allowed for business use, which is 300 square feet for all simplified business use of home. So let's select here. Okay. Was this a daycare facility? We'll say no. The area used for business, for daycare, or for storage of inventory. The max, if you're using the simplified version, is 300. What is the square foot of the home? Let's say if it's 1,800, okay? All right. And so okay, that's all you have to do with the simplified method. Okay. And that's it with simplified. Okay, because most people, they have, you know, they have a small room that they use for business out of their home. It's important that when you guys start writing off expenses for your home, that you really understand the tax law, because there are times when I work from home, but because we have a commercial space, we can't claim both. You cannot claim business use of home if you have a commercial space. Okay. Just because my utilities cost me $3,500 for the entire year, guess what? I cannot write off $3,500. I can only write off what? A percentage that in which I use for business. And so as a tax professional, then you're gonna have to do the calculation to help your client understand the percentage of their home that they use for business. And in order to claim the business use of your home, you guys, remember, let's say I may be in my dining room and I consider my dining room my business space. But if I use my dining room as my dining room and my business space, then guess what? I cannot claim this portion. I can't claim this as business use. That's, tax laws are so important. You can only claim the business use of a home if it is exclusively used for your business. So you can't share a room like as your office and as your dining room, or as your office and your bedroom. It have to be exclusively used for your business. Now, how would, I won't say that. Someone said, is it the same as someone used a home for daycare? No, it's different. It is different. Thank you for, I'll go back and let me do that. All right, let's see. Let me delete the simplified version, okay? So you can still do a simplified version for daycare. So you'll select yes, and then you have to have the hours used for the daycare per day. Normally it'll be between 10 and 12. It could be longer than that though. Days used for daycare per year. Y'all got to pull out that calendar and do some calculation. Available days for daycare, normally it's between 5 or 6, okay? It said area of your homes used exclusively for business and the area of your homes used partly for business. So depending on how you answer this question, it's going to require you to answer additional questions. So for instance, area used exclusively for business, for daycare, or for storage of inventory. Exclusively, you guys. Area used only partly for daycare, okay? And the total area of your home is what will go in the third box. And after you complete that, you'll press continue, okay? Now, expenses for business use of home. Let's go deeper, you guys. So, okay? So if you guys are going to use the business use of a home, there's a direct expense and then there's a indirect expense, you guys. I feel like I'm getting into training, tax preparation, then software. Oh my gosh. I'm providing y'all with a lot of content. So for the direct expense, so let's say, for example, that I have an office in my house that I use exclusively for business. So that gives me a right to claim that portion of the house on my tax return, right? So that means that I'm going to have some expenses that are directly related to my business that I don't have to share with the other portion of my house. Okay. Then there are some that are indirect expenses that I have to share with the other portion of my house, like what? Water, the insurance, it may be the utilities, it may be real estate taxes, the interest. Those are indirect expenses. Okay. All right. So direct expenses, then indirect. Okay. All right. Okay, if you have anything that's carryover or excessive, you put it there. The depreciation of your home, this is good. So you'll have to understand the adjusted base for to calculate the depreciation of the home. The value of land, you got to know that part. Most of the time, this information can be pulled up on the county's website, where it's going to split the value of the land, because sometimes clients don't know that part. And then the adjusted base income, they may know that portion, okay? Date the home was first used for business, the accumulated depreciation, date home improvements were completed. Let's say if they made some home improvements, the total amount of home improvements, and then home improvements accumulated depreciation. That goes into advance. Okay. But if you guys are really working with tax business owners, you know, who are trying to file tax, Trump tax return, this information is good to know. Okay. All right, so for the Schedule C, shoo. Okay. At the last one, let me show you guys this part. Restart the Schedule C guide. If you guys wanted to start all the way back over, you guys can just start from the beginning. Okay. And the guide would actually walk you through certain questions regarding the Schedule C. So to say, did your business make money during the tax year? Okay. So these are questions that you can actually ask your client. You can say yes. Then it's asking you about the income. Okay. Do you need to determine how much it costs to buy or make your product sold? If you say yes or no, if you say yes, it's going to take you to the cost of goods. If you say no, it's going to move forward. Did you spend any money on ordinary day-to-day activities that was necessary for your business? The answer would be yes here. And then it'll take you to this form. Once you're finished with that, then we're halfway there. Did you use your car or truck for business purpose? You may be able to deduct the cost of mileage and maintenance. You also may be able to deduct other costs of local transportation and overnight business travel. Okay. So this is where it's going to ask you to put in additional information. Okay. See how the Schedule C, it has its own guide. So basically that's all it's doing. It's taking you through the actual guide. Okay. All right.
Hey, Miss Teresa.
Uh-oh. Somebody talking to Miss Teresa. Mute your phone. All right, let's see. All right. So if you guys have additional income, just select income. So it's this software is like one of the easiest software to use. Where it says unemployment income, that's where anything that's dealing with income is going to be found under the income section. Okay. The next section is deductions. You guys, most people qualify for the standard deduction. The only time that you really should waste time with itemizing is when you have like mortgage interest and expenses. Okay. Okay. Mortgage interest used to buy a home. The answer should be yes. If not, then they really can't claim it. Mortgage interest reported on a 1098. Okay. So this is where you'll put the real estate taxes that they paid and then any interest, and don't forget about the points. Okay. Mortgage interest not reported on a 1098. When would a mortgage interest not be reported on 1098? When you are doing like a lease to purchase. Okay. Private mortgage insurance, this information will be found on that 1098 form. Okay. Taxes you paid. The only time that you really have to put anything on here, if you want to deduct your state sale tax, well, that's for those who are in retail, okay? But your real estate taxes can go here, and your car registration personal taxes can go there. Oh, let me cancel that. Let's see. Unreimbursed employee business expense, nothing should go there. Job-related travel expenses, nothing should go there. Miscellaneous deductions, let's see, nothing should go there. You see tax preparation, you see safe deposit box rental, investment fees and expenses. Remember, according to tax laws, that we can no longer claim these credits, okay? So you guys shouldn't even basically be going under the last 1, 2, 3, 4, because those credits are no longer applicable. Okay. Let's see. Oh, did I show y'all how to do charitable donations, gifts to charities? Okay. So most people, let's say tithe and offering, right? Okay. The only time that you'll use like the charity name, description, date of donation, and amount donated, if it's one charity. Okay. But a lot of times people, they have, they pay tithe and offering more than one time, right? So you just put the full amount that they paid in cash. So once you put the charity amount, you guys, this may not move the federal amount whatsoever, the federal refund amount, but it may be effective for the state. Okay. None gifts to charity. Okay. So charity miles. I love the fact that you can just click there where it says learn more. So it's telling you how much that they're going to get. If it's business, they get 56 cents per mile, 14 cents per mile for charity, and 16 cents per mile for medical. Okay. Okay. All right. None cash less than or equal to $500. So let's say for the entire year, all they gave was $300. Instead of having to put this under the charity portion, you can just put it here, simplified version, $300. And then you can select learn more. And it's going to give you, it's going to help you to understand a little bit more about the charity portion. Okay. So if someone has, for instance, let's go back to medical and dental expenses. If someone has medical miles, because some people, when my father was diagnosed with cancer, I drove a lot of miles to and from the hospital. So you guys can, they can write off medical mileage, medical aids, you guys. To break this down, you guys, this helps a lot of times with the state portion of the refund, but just keep in mind that if you guys put information, like if you complete all of this information, your people really need to keep good records, because especially in the state of Alabama, they audit for everything. Okay, so I always tell my clients, especially when they're doing a Schedule C, that the state of Alabama, they may send you a letter asking you to send in proof of what has been put on the tax return. It is your choice whether or not to send in that information. If you decide not to send in that information, it will reduce the amount of your state refund, or you may end up owing a portion. You may owe. So that's a conversation that you guys need to have with your clients. I still feel like I'm getting into teaching, but okay, so after deductions, I think I was here. Okay, where it says non-cash donations over $500, this is where, like, if your clients was donating to the Salvation Army, okay, this is where that information would go. Okay, all right. All right, you guys, we're finished with deductions. Repayment of first-time home buyer credit. That's something that's good to know that it goes there. If you guys don't know where something goes, just you can type the form number into the form finder and it'll pull it directly up for you guys. Other taxes. Let's say payments and estimates. Like oftentimes you may not deal with clients who paid estimated taxes, but if you did, all you have to do is just go under the other tax section. Okay, miscellaneous forms. This is where you'll find the injured spouse form, claim a refund due to a deceased taxpayer. You can file an extension here, married filing separately, allocations, applications for I-10, power attorney. This is where you guys can also, let me make sure you guys understand here. Under miscellaneous, this is where you guys can, where it says explanations, prepare notes. Okay, you can put prepare notes here if you guys want. Okay, you can put notes here. What I want to do, I'm going to delete this Schedule C. I'm going to delete the Schedule C, and I'm going to delete the 1099 NEC. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show you guys something. Okay. Health insurance. Did you or your spouse or dependent purchase health insurance via the marketplace or state marketplace? Okay. If they did it for the marketplace, you'll select yes. If they did not have insurance, the only reason we're asking about insurance is because of the health insurance questionnaire. Because if they had insurance through the marketplace, remember that in order for their refund to be released, that form has to be included on their tax return. Okay. So right now it's saying that the state return is not available. Okay. It's taking us to the summary page. So let's say if you guys forgot to put the IRA where the little zeros are or anything that's blue, you guys can just click that and it'll take you directly to that section. Okay. And then also we have a summary. You can look at the summary view or you can look at the continue view. Let me show you this. Oh. You can press continue. It's trying to make me add a state return. Okay, now, this is the part that I want to get to. It's the due diligence form. This due diligence form, it pops up automatically if your client qualify for any of the major credits like earned income tax credit, child tax credit, household, they file in household status, like any of those major credits, okay? Was the taxpayer a non-resident alien? Probably not. Is the taxpayer a qualifying child of another one? Probably not. Did you complete the return based upon information provided by the taxpayer? Yes. Did you interview the taxpayer? Yes. Did you review adequate information? Yes. Did you provide information? Did any information provided by the taxpayer seem to be incorrect, incomplete, or inconsistent? No. If you mark yes, then you don't need to file this tax return. Did you satisfy the record retention? Yes. And so it's asking you, in addition to your notes from the interview, list those documents that you relied upon. So I relied upon the Social Security card, birth certificate, prior year tax return. If it's Schedule C, I may say income documents. I may say income and expense documents. And then I may also put made notes on file, okay? So any documents that you relied upon, you'll put it right here in this box because this information is going on that form 8867 form, okay? Did you ask the taxpayer whether he or she could provide documentation to substantiate eligibility for and the amount of the credit and or head of household filing status? The answer is yes. Did you ask the taxpayer if any credits were disallowed? Yes, I did. Were any of these credits disallowed? No, they wasn't. If they were, you guys select yes. But if it wasn't, you select no, okay? Now it's asking about Aubrey. Is this child currently or intended to be a qualifying child on any other individual's tax return? EIC questions. Have you determined that this taxpayer is in fact eligible to be claimed, to claim the EIC? Yes. Did you explain to the taxpayer? Yes. Okay. Did you explain to the taxpayer the rules about claiming EITC? Yes, I did. Okay. Does the child reside with the taxpayer? Yes. Did you explain to the taxpayer that he or she may not claim? Yes. Did you explain to the taxpayer the rules about claiming the child tax credit? Yes. Have you determined that the taxpayer was unmarried or considered unmarried? Yes. So you guys see, we're going through due diligence questions, EIC, EITC questions, child tax questions, head of household questions. And I certify that all of this information is correct. Once you do that and you press continue, this information is going on form 8867 to be submitted directly to the IRS. After you guys do that, this is a great place. I always tell my team, we always have due diligence notes. Okay. Okay. And this is where we'll type up any additional questions that we may ask the taxpayer. Okay. So if there are additional questions that you ask them along with the due diligence forms, this is where you will put this. Okay. You can select private statement if you don't want this to be included in your client's forms or in their tax return that you give them or you email to them. Okay. So so I may put something like this. Spoke with the tax client and I asked the following questions. And we'll have a list of due diligence questions that we ask all of our clients. We'll have my team to copy and paste it here and then the questions, and then they'll type in the answers for the client. And then press continue, continue. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Let's see. Okay. This is the last form that is ready for e-file. Okay. Let me make sure you guys understand here. Everything that has refund advantage, or if you were using Santa Barbara, this is how, this means that the client's refund, their tax preparation fee is coming out of their refund. When you're using refund advantage, ERC, this means that your fees are coming out of their refund and they are receiving a check, okay? Refund Advantage, ERD, means that they're receiving a direct deposit or, direct deposit. Refund Advantage card. This means that Refund Advantage sent you a prepaid card. All right, this means that this is Refund Advantage prepaid card, not the prepaid card that your clients bring in. If your clients bring in a prepaid card with a routing number and an account number, guess what? That goes under ERD, okay? E-file paper check and e-file direct deposit. This means that you're gonna e-file the tax return, but your client paid for their tax preparation out of pocket, and they're gonna receive a check or they're gonna receive direct deposit, okay? Paper return with direct deposit or just paper return, okay? So you guys need to be training your team. This is important, okay? Okay. Only time you select self-prepared if the client, well, don't worry about that part. If the client prepared it themselves and you're e-filing it for them, but I wouldn't do that. Okay, so this is where you guys can put in your fees. You can make adjustments to your fees if you want. Okay, we have all kind of custom fees or discounts that we may provide. Okay. This is where you put in your client's email address. Okay. The taxpayer PIN and the ERO's PIN, don't change that. Okay. The address, telephone number, it pulled over. You need to put in your client's, driver's license number, issue date, okay, expiration date, okay, the state that it was issued in, the country, next, okay. Do you have 7216 bank consent to disclosure form? So if your client is receiving their, if their tax preparation fee is coming out of their refund, you guys, you need to select this box, okay? Select yes, so your clients can get a text message saying that their refund has been direct deposit or a check is available. And ask them if it's okay. And if it is, ask them for the telephone number, okay? What is the bank verification? They may call the bank and the security question, we just tell them to put is their mother's last name. Okay. Okay, the name of the bank where they want their refund deposit verified, deposited. Third-party designee. I'm always the third-party designee on all of the tax returns that are filed in my office. Why? Because even when the tax preparer have gone on, they may leave the company or whatever, I still need to be able to make sure that these clients' issues are resolved. So I'm always the third-party designee, and I usually set the designee PIN as the same number on all the tax returns. Why? So I can call the IRS at any time regarding any client that's in our system, even if I didn't file the tax return. Okay. And questions, your software can be set up so that the tax preparer asks certain questions at the end of the tax return. Okay. Okay. So right now, we're not done. So it won't, well, we're done with the tax return, but it won't allow me to go to the final stage because this is 2021 tax year, okay? All right. And from here, this is going to show them it's going to show you the client's refund amounts, prep and bank fees, and then what their net portion of their refund is, okay? On that final screen, you guys, that's where you'll create your customer portal. The final screen is where you can and this is where you can email a copy of the tax return, get their signature on the last form. Like this is one more screen, but we can't get to it because the banks are not open. But that's where you guys would finish up on the last screen, where you'll go over the amount of the refund, where you go over the fees that are being taken out. That's when you go over the actual tax return, you get their signatures, you get the customer portal set up, and you answer any additional questions, okay? All right. How do you have your clients sign? You can, yes, my clients can either sign through the customer portal, through the mobile app, or on that final screen. And we use iPads in our offices. So we just, or I would suggest iPads or touch screen. You guys can get a Topaz signature pad if you want. But we just try to keep it simple for our clients. Someone said, what about advances? I may have missed that. Right here, if there were advances, it would say refund, advantage, advance. And then it'll allow you to choose an option of how much the advance would be. So that'll be right here. Okay. Let's see. It'll be in the community. Okay. Can a taxpayer claim for work at home expense if work for employer? Good question. No, they cannot. Someone wanted to know if someone worked for home, but they work for, let's say like a 9-to-5, but they work from home and they have expenses because they're using their lights, they're using their internet, all of that. Nope. Unless the tax laws change, but they haven't changed as of yet. So if the square footage is more than 300 square feet, how do we calculate the utilities or cell phone expenses? So if it's more than 300 square feet, are you asking how to come up with the percentage? I did a video on YouTube for that. That's more of tax training. But it's a video on YouTube that I help with calculating the actual expenses. And I'll put that in the community too, so you guys can have that. Is it the same as someone used to home for, okay, answer that. If this is where, okay, answer that. Okay. Can you put the Uber platform fees there? Yes, you can put Uber platform fees under other expenses, or you can put it under commission and fees. Okay. Can you show again for the household, for household income? Okay. Okay. All right. So the only thing is what documents support household. That's more tax training too instead of software. Let me show you where, okay. Under the federal section, you're going to income, you're going to less income, less common income, you'll go under other compensation, and you'll go under household employee income. And this is where you would put the household income. Okay, all right. Okay, you guys, well, I've showed you tons of information. I spent a lot of time with you guys. So I would suggest that you would go in your software and you would practice so that you won't spend a lot of time trying to understand the system. You need to spend time communicating and building customer service with your customers versus trying to figure out the system. So go work and play on the demo, and go Go, you're welcome. Go play on the demo, go in the system, you guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. I pray that this information was beneficial to you guys. I love you guys, and I know that you guys are going to have a fantastic year. And if there's anything that I can do to assist you guys, be sure to ask questions in the community. That's what we're here for. The group is primarily created for Tax Genie individuals. So you guys ask questions, okay? Because I want to see you guys excel. I want to see you guys win. I want you guys to be comfortable with understanding the software, okay? You guys are more than welcome. My honor, definitely my honor. Roberta said, can you start putting information in the software for the clients now? Yes, you can, but you can't complete it. You can't bring it to closure. Somebody said, it doesn't matter if we change our business address in the software. So wait, let me see. So that our home address is not listed on any information going to the client. Yes, you can change that. Yes, you can. Just put the city and state. Yep. Okay, let's see. The group name is Taxpreneur of America. It's on Facebook. Okay, you guys. And you can invite any tax preparer there. We're just there to help you guys navigate through the tax year and to answer any questions that you guys may have. We need each other, okay? None of us is superior. All of us have been where you are, even if you're beginning, even if you're experienced, like we just need each other. Things constantly change, okay, you guys? So that's what we're here for. So blessings to you guys. You guys are more than welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to end this session so that I can begin the next one. Okay, God bless you guys. You're welcome.